What's going on, everybody? It's February 1st, 2025. Just picked up a new miter saw for the garage. I have been shopping for quite a while. I had a 10-inch Craftsman that I'd bought when I bought the house, which was 24 years ago, and it did really well, but had found it's lacking a little bit when trying to do some bigger projects and cut bigger materials. So I've been searching for a sliding miter saw. I just picked up the Metabo HPT 12-inch sliding miter saw. I wanted to get a slider for a long time, but I had the issue of my miter station not having the ability to really go backwards, and I didn't want to extend it way out into my garage, so I was stuck trying to find a zero clearance. Looked at the Bosches, the Rigids, Festool, and all of those, but I don't think my projects are worthy of $600+ miter saws, and happened to come across this one at Menards for $350, which is $100 less than the retail. Not sure if they are trying to get a new model out, so they're selling these, but when you can pay 78% of retail for a 12-inch sliding miter saw, figure you didn't do too bad. So wanted to just kind of go through a few of the features and kind of my initial likes and dislikes. Just so you know, this is model number C12RSH3. So again, it's a slider. It does slide to the front, so you have a little bit of zero clearance. It's not true zero clearance because it does stick back quite a ways there, but if you could imagine if I had to slide those rails backwards, how much further that would have to be on my station out in the garage. So it does save a lot of space, but not as much possibly as the Bosch. I don't know. I never really looked into how close those sit to the wall, but it does slide. Probably not going to impress you too much on the sliding. It feels, I'm going to say it feels like about 5, 6, 7 pounds to pull that. It doesn't slide super smooth. Don't know if that can be improved or not. Fences, they swing out in both directions. Don't worry, this is not temporary, but I'll explain this here in a minute. It does have the LED X-cut, so if you have material on there, and I'll sit something on here and see if we can show you. So if you do have material on there, when you bring the saw down, there's your cut line, that little black line, and it matches up pretty good. I was sliding it back and forth on some material here, so no laser, just the LED shadow line for showing where you're going to be cutting. Does have depth stop. You know, obviously lock the saw down just to make it a chop saw. Has a dust bag. Handle is only in this position here, which is going to take getting some used to, but I think it'll be all right. You've got your release here for dropping it left and right for your compound. The lever here, when you put this up, it only flips this way. So if you lift, it'll only go this way. You have to pull this out to release a rod to allow it to go the other way. And then if it goes back this way, back to the left, you push that rod back in, and then it'll stand back up against it, and you can lock it in by pushing that down. You have your manual lock, and then push a button, and then you can all the way. I think you can go 45 degrees of angle over here. Gotta get that out of the way. 45 degrees of angle over here, and I think there's 57 over here. Yeah. Really, other than that, not a whole lot to it. Kind of initially, some of my impressions. One, it is a heavy pig. It is not a saw that you are going to just enjoy throwing in and out of the bed of your truck and taking it to a friend's house and helping somebody out. I mean, it is heavy, but I imagine they all are. I don't have much experience with 12-inch sliders to say if this is heavy or light compared to others, but it is a heavy saw. I do like the fact that they changed from previous versions for this. Previous versions had a lever in the very back around here, so when you wanted to lay the saw over, you had to reach back there, and it didn't seem very convenient. I do like the ability to just lift this and lay the saw over, and then bring it back up and lock it down. This is kind of nice. Push the button in, it holds it while you move it around, and then you can release, and then you can manually lock. Now, I did find that, if you'll see here, you watch that, I don't have the manual lock down. So it's up so it can move, but you watch that, it's locked in the spot, but you've got that much movement of play. So you really have to look down there at 0, and you can see we're just a little bit off. You have to kind of knock it over and then lock it down. And it is square when it is right there at 0. It is absolutely square, but it with that play, it won't be square. So didn't really like that it doesn't just automatically grab into position there. Let's see, I did replace the factory blade that came with it with a Diablo 44 tooth. I think they cut better than factory, and for $39 it was a pretty solid pickup. It does, like I say, these fences, they slide in and out. It obviously has the material holder, so if you want to clamp material down, it just goes down in there. There's some knurling, but a lot of basic saw functions that a lot of different saws have, so there's nothing super special there. The one big thing I do not like about it, last night when I was working on squaring up everything, this gap is huge. And I had this piece of 2x4, and I was just checking square and trying to get everything just right. And I had it in here like this and was just doing a long rip. And man, once it got through there, that piece was gone. I mean, it went back here, hit, broke into pieces. I mean, it flew. So that's why this was in there. I got a little bit of experimenting to do, but I'm going to try to fit that piece in there, figure out how to make it work when I probably have to round the edges off or something for when you do want to move the saw like this, because the fence obviously doesn't move. So I'm going to have to figure out how to radius that so that it'll want to go around, but I'm going to try to fix that problem. On previous models, you can see what I mean. I put it back in there, so now I got to kind of fidget with it to get it just right. There we go. Previous versions had a sacrificial piece of plastic that was in here, and that allowed you to just cut through it on your first cut, and then it protected from that material flying through. This one obviously doesn't, so I'm going to try to jerry rig my own. So, but anyway, again, Metabo HPT XLED, exact cut LED. One thing I did notice the other night, I went inside. I don't think this LED ever turns off. I noticed it's still on and it stays on, and then I went in the house and watched TV for a while, and I told my wife, I was like, I'm gonna go out there and check on it, and sure enough, after about 45 minutes, that LED was still on. So I don't know, and I've read through the old user's manual a little bit. I don't think it ever turns off, and I know LEDs have long lifespans, so it's probably not that big of a deal, but I've been just unplugging it when I go in the house at night. So anyway, $350 instead of $450. Not a bad buy in my opinion. We'll see as I do some more projects here how it cuts, and I think it's going to be a really good saw. So appreciate you watching and hope that you found this useful. Thanks a lot.